appropriate, put it out. I'm not sure. Thanks for doing that, Chris.
Yeah.
That's it.
I can't remember if we approved the November 11th minutes last meeting or not, but anyway, they're both here.
Yeah.
I seem to remember we did.
Let me do it again.
And the other thing in here is the draft. We'll do it again.
Yes.
I got the those emails too, so BCC.
Okay. Hello, guys. One. Is this too early for you?
Well, no, I just,
I know it's not.
what?
I know it's not. You're up. See? Planning board uniform, nice sweater.
Oh, yeah, I did it on purpose, because you guys are doing it.
You guys,
I didn't get a couple of minutes from the last meeting. Oh, there was the agenda was taken, and I got the marker.
You want the agenda?
Oh,
You got the agenda?
yeah. Yeah.
We got a quorum. Publics. Okay, it's 9 PM, the meeting's called to order.
9 a.m.
9 AM, the meeting's called to order. Ed Ingles,
Present.
Marshall Goldberg, Kerry McMenamy, Gus Stratton,
Present.
Terry Ward,
Yeah.
Rich Sacker,
Here.
Rick Surratt, present. We have a quorum. Marshall Goldberg is present.
He is.
Still have a quorum. Appointment of alternates, no alternates today. Public comments. Correspondence, email, training sessions available, not today. Review and approval of minutes, November 11th and November 18th. We all have copies, just please review them now and then we'll take it from there.
Regarding training sessions, you're going to talk about the meeting with the lawyer that you had last week? or-
No, we'll go over some of the points that,
Oh, okay.
the progress we made there.
It's how we pH, though, that's,
Okay.
it's the pH.
Are we having to approve November 11th also today, or just the 18th?
Yes, we're going to approve the 11th as well. Yes.
The only thing I had on the 11th, it says the next meeting is December 2. It should actually say November 18th because we snuck that other one in there.
Right.
so let's fix that. And then on the 18th, Mr. Berry corrected the spelling of the name for me.
Thank you.
I'll change that.
We accept the minutes with the corrections that Ed had mentioned.
Just state the dates.
November 11th and November 18th.
Second. Any comments? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? November 11th and November 18th meetings are accepted and approved. New business, the gravel pits. We have to send out a notification that we're going to do an inspection, hopefully this year. So on this process now, we send these notifications out and they respond yes or no, or we just schedule a time to inspect. How has it gone last year?
Terry and I did one, and I think, Marshall, you and Terry did one?
Yes.
So you just figured it out, or did they send in a date or just say, okay, come?
I can't remember how we.
I think we just showed up.
I think we sent a letter to them.
Right.
Right.
Definitely sent a letter.
And then we talked to them, I think, and they said, yeah, come anytime,
Okay.
kind of thing, I think.
Okay, well, here's the letter, they're going out.
Yeah, I don't know if we have phone numbers for them, or just those addresses, or how the contract seems. I want to say Tim made the contract, I'm not sure.
Okay. Can we mail these? We'll dig up the numbers for them and I'll make a call to them. Old business, warrant review, master plan, rules of procedure. We had a meeting with the lawyer last Monday. And it went well. We went over the warrants. She's going to write them out and send them to us for our inspection. We got a lot of information for master plan. And I believe we touched on the rules of procedure there.
Rules of procedure, no, other than the email and stuff.
So the main thing is we got the warrants rolling. And she's offered us help, of course, on anything we need to do to make this happen. Also, we're invited to have more sessions with her, groups at her office, or have her come here. And she also wanted to come here and to our meetings and help us with other things in town as needed. So it's good. I sent her all of our emails so she could send us copies of the stuff she's working on. But that wasn't until yesterday. I just just so backed up last week after the meeting. So after the races. And it's very busy. So we don't have her copies yet, so there's no discussion yet on that. Is there anything else you want to cover, any input on those?
With the attorney, is her offer to come to the meetings, is that included in her, the fee that we gave her, is it like a retainer? Or not?
She's per diem or per hour,
Oh, okay.
in and out. The town has funds put aside for it on council.
So the only other thought, Rick, I had was I was at the SRPC and I was talking to the director, Jen, and she was working on something. When I sat down with her, I said, "Oh, what's that?" And she goes, "Oh, I do work for Wakefield, and they have an issue here." And I said, "Really? What services do you provide them?" And if you don't mind me asking, how much they're paying? And she said, "Well, basically, we do help towns all over Stratford County, and in Wakefield's case, they wanted us to attend every planning board meeting, and they wanted us to review anything that came in front of the planning board. So they would be your coach and tell you, here's the questions to ask, here's what to look out for, here's what your ordinances say, and then you're prepared for the meeting." And so that's what they want us to do, and we signed a contract for $7,500 for the year to do that. So, based on what we want to do and how we want to do it, it doesn't mean that that's the price, right? We would decide what help we wanted from them, and that's roughly based on her quote, which I verified, is about $80 an hour. So it's something we should at least think about and consider to help us out.
80's less than 210?
I don't know what the lawyer charges.
Doesn't Wakefield meet bi-weekly, the planning board,
I have no
instead of
idea.
monthly?
Don't know.
That's interesting. Going back to what else we talked about at the master plan last meeting, we put out a number for funds to do the master plan. Did she say that we should go higher, or?
What I said was that we had discussed it at the planning board, and we felt that we wanted to do a first pass of all of this stuff and review it and give her a document to then help us clean it up and assess what we're missing potentially. And I said, look, we will, and then there was a question about, should we do a survey or not? And I explained we did a survey in 2018, and I don't know how much more value add that would be. She said, well, maybe what you should do is just have a community event, whatever that might be, and get input from people, which is an easier way to do it, and update what we had. And I said, we want to do this for the least amount of money as we can, but we certainly need your help and appreciate the fact that you have to charge us for that help. So I said, can't we just, rather than, assign a number, can we just do something by the hour? And I said, it looks like it's $80 an hour. We can have however you want to do it, a running tally of when I go sit with somebody to update the maps and they spend 3 hours, it's at their rate, because obviously some are more skilled than others. And she said, I'll send you another quote, kind of with looking at what we've got. So for example, one of the things we talked about was when you look at our maps and we talk about whether it's agricultural land, or we talk about what's the impact of going from 2 acres to 5 acre lots, and who's affected by that, and how many people is that? Kind of an analysis of our property and our aquifers and our whatever, which I thought would be very helpful for us because we don't have anybody to collect that kind of data. So it's those kinds of things where I think we can decide as a group, you know, what do we want to have her do versus what we want to do, and keep the costs as low as possible.
So it sounds like she's not committing to the per hour, but she's gonna look at more detail.
Yeah, we'll work it out, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Because she's not, you know, she's not there trying to stick it to you for whatever.
Right.
She wants to work with us and help us, so.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
optimistic that we can end up on an hourly rate, because I don't think there's a specific, I mean, if that analysis, for example, I don't know what's involved with doing that and how many hours that is, but I could certainly find out
Yep.
before we signed up for it, that's for sure.
Towns with a lot of money just say go for it, you know. We as a town appreciate digging into it, trying to get it done more cost effective.
Yeah.
The survey, in my opinion, was a disaster. It took a ton of time. And there was a lot of, I had to sift through a lot of unnecessary stuff, bid sheets, and, you know, just, it went off the rails, in my opinion. So having another town meeting on that, maybe in early January, and tie it into a potluck or something, get people to show up.
Well, it seems to me that the
Food and
most,
swag, you know?
yeah, the most highly attended activity is the town hall meeting in March, right?
Right.
So maybe it could be something simple that we just hand out at that point and talk about the fact that we're working on a master plan and, you know, I don't know, something to think about.
Would the selectmen want to pile that onto a town meeting?
I wouldn't do it that day. I think you're advocating we tell people it's gonna happen, but not that day. Announce it at that day.
Yeah, and maybe just say, look, if you want to participate, just fill out your email address. Then at least we get everybody's email address who wanted to participate, right?
No, we could do that, if, sure, we could do that.
And do something, do like
If we wanted to get into it earlier, you know, putting a signboard out, free food, it's,
right,
we draw a crowd at that too.
yeah, yeah. So I'm
We
I'm
could
open
say
to anything.
free food and entertainment. Break up.
I'll
the master
sing or
plan.
something, you know?
Yeah, right. Do a tap dance.
So it's, either way, I'm open to either way. Does anybody have a comment on that? Okay. Or both? Whenever we get a group together, just throw it out.
Should we talk about some of the reasons that we recommended the switch in the acreage from 2 to 5? Because there were issues that we talked about when we proposed that last year, that we haven't really talked about since.
But that's done, that was approved.
I know it was approved, but there are people raising questions about it, right? That's what you're referring to, about this in terms of that warrant article?
On the warrant article, we were going to just put an explanation, add an explanation to the, what was already voted on. So if someone picks up the zoning, they would see it. And it wouldn't draw a question then. Is that the spirit of it, Ed?
Yeah.
Did you talk to the lawyer about that?
Yeah.
And she just said that would be okay?
Yeah, she's gonna write it up.
It would be a warrant article, again, it says it's kind of the same thing, but it
Just
would
clarification.
clarify that as of March 12, 23, going forward.
So, on the warrant articles, can you read off what we have her working on?
No,
Okay,
I thought I had it here, but I don't. One was that, one was the 400 frontage.
right,
I can't give you the specific language. There was one that you had on your agenda, I forget.
okay, I had, when we were there, definitions,
Yeah, the state definitions.
right,
So I think she was gonna write it up, that if we don't have a definition, you go with the state, and if the state has more than one, which they do in a lot of cases, we go with the more conservative one.
Excellent.
so that'll just, that won't have to be a warrant article, right, or does that? Yeah, it will.
I think it does, yeah, because it goes into the zoning language.
And then, the list of uses, the rec zone, can we change, there was some discussion on that.
So the conditional potentially goes away, and just becomes part of permitted.
Right.
So we won't have two lists. So that'd be a warrant article, that the list of conditionals, which was the thing that was missing for like a year,
Yes,
that's just gonna go away altogether and get moved over to permitted. And that, I think there's gonna be language that there's a site plan review required for any of those things.
right, so,
Just to clarify.
so the permitted was gonna come off too, right?
I think I stay there.
Okay. And then, home-based business regulations, outside industry, et cetera, instead of just having it come in for a permit. Because some things, she said, some home-based businesses, particularly outside industry, et cetera, would, it's a change of use. And she wanted to put a site plan review on some home-based businesses. So she's writing up language for that to be a warrant article, to help us get a handle on and understand what people want to do for home-based businesses. And make sure we don't get jumped on some things that draw complaints from neighbors and other people in the town. That's what I got.
Yep, that was it.
Those are the three. The master plan we covered. Rules and procedure, we didn't talk about that at the lawyer's office, but that's up to us to clean up. And we're likely gonna have a admin assistant after the first of the year, so we can put some life into that and get that squared away with. That's a document that we write. It's not warrant articles. It's all from the planning board, by the planning board, for the town.
So we did a review of that last year, right?
We've been working on that for
But
many
do
years.
we know where that is? Just like does anybody have it?
Yeah, it's in the,
Yeah, it's in your
the
folder.
notebook and it's
No,
on.
no, the revisions we make to it.
That was, I think that was more the master plan, that I think we have login credentials now, Leah, I think, so we can get to that.
So we can find
That
that
cloud
class master
360
plan
thing. Yeah.
Yes, that's right, so you got to Ed on that.
Yeah.
That's all, we have access now. Perfect.
So we should be able to find that today, for example.
I would think so.
I mean, we
I
can
hope
go
so.
look and see if we can find it. Because I remember I remember reading the rules and procedures and going into the detail of it, because Craig brought it up. So I know we did work on it. I just don't know where, unless what's on the website has incorporated those changes already, I don't know. Anyway, shouldn't be a big deal.
I don't know the answer to that.
Shouldn't be a big deal.
Okay.
But do you want to make that a priority to read through that stuff, have comments for next meeting and just get it done?
Yes,
or-
yeah, most of it's bookkeeping, and some of it's redundant, and some of it's archaic, and, you know.
Right. Well, like we
We can
changed the
lot-
time of the meeting, for
Yeah,
example,
yeah.
so that would be a change
Exactly
we'd
right.
have to make, right?
And we don't post in the Granite State News anymore.
Right.
I mean,
And I don't
highlight-
even know, does Stoneham,
Oh,
Gone, that's
that
gone.
doesn't
also.
even exist.
That's gone too.
So, I mean, it's simple stuff, it's
Yes.
not hard. It's just
Well,
we
it's
gotta do it and follow it, right?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of changes over the years that are, that we're doing that are not in the rules of procedure.
Right,
The only things that are accurate is some of the parliamentary stuff that is in there,
right,
just running the meeting, et cetera.
right,
That's likely unchanged, but we can tune that up too.
sure.
Everybody read Robert's rules.
Yes, I
It's, we run our meetings, similar to that. It's, the chairman can tune that up if they wanted to fit the meetings that we have. But it's a basic blueprint about how we run stuff. So, any more on the old business? Except for we're waiting for documents from the lawyer so we could, get these things together and prepare them for warrant. We're in decent shape on that now. But we pulled this meeting in, but
What are we gonna do with Marshall's suggestion or comment on SRPC coming to meetings if we need some support? I mean, what I think I heard you say that they'll come at a fee, and if we have an agenda where we might want some help,
right.
should we take them up on that? What do we like that idea? Do we want to move forward with that?
We left it as, what do we want to do? It's similar to having a lawyer, you know, she offered to come and do the same exact thing,
Right.
but she's double cost.
Yes. And sometimes, like this meeting, it may not be worthwhile, but if we have a robust agenda, it might pay to have some support.
Right.
I would,
Can we anticipate in advance of the following meeting what we're gonna cover, and then decide whether we need them for that? In other words, use them on a PRN or as-needed basis rather than every week. or every
Oh, I
month.
would hope we would do that,
yes.
Yeah,
but I would hope we're in agreement that we want to do that, so if we see something hit the agenda that we want some support on, we don't have to meet and talk about it, but just get some help.
Right, especially if we're gonna be opening something up, have them here.
Yes.
Yes, and, you know, with the monthly meeting, we can certainly give them notice, because we'll know what's coming up. And we need a motion for that we're gonna use them?
I don't know if we need a motion, we just have to make sure we're in agreement, you know, that we want to do that, and not that someone says, well, I didn't know we were going to do that.
I'll make a motion anyway, that we enlist, the planning,
SRPC.
SRPC,
SRPC.
to come and assist us on an as-needed basis as events and issues arise. You get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We had the discussion before. And we don't need a motion for the lawyer, she's on retainer regardless, and we can have her come in for certain meetings, et cetera, that we have. That's good. This is stuff that we never took advantage for in the past. You know, with everything changing now and the town getting bigger, et cetera, it's time we do it, we need the help.
So given that we're going to use SRPC a little, do we want to change our budget? We want to put another, pick a number, $1,000, $80 an hour they get, $100 an hour, $200 a meeting, $200 a meeting?
Plus, you know, I don't know
Yeah.
what they.
Half the meetings,
travel time.
Yeah.
travel time
1,200
has to be
bucks.
included.
There's no Carroll County, because we're in Carroll County now.
We are in, for
For planning purposes.
planning,
We're in their district.
we're in Stratford County.
half the yearly meeting's $1,200.
Well, and then if there's, for example, when somebody comes to us for whatever reason, either it's gonna be a slam dunk, or we need help.
Right.
So that's another piece that I think is just as valuable, if not more so, so that when we prep for a meeting or we know what's coming, we can get their input to coach us from a professional planning perspective, right?
Yep.
And they will have helped us with the master plan and some of the zoning perhaps, or land use. So then they'll be attuned to what our ordinances are. So
Good move.
maybe a little more than $1,500 might be wise, but
We don't have to spend it. if
yeah, we
don't
don't
use it,
have
right?
to spend it if we don't use it.
How much we got?
Why don't I put 3?
1,200?
Rick was 12.
I'm thinking more like 2,500 or something. It doesn't matter, right? I mean, within reason.
Right.
Well, it's not gonna choke them at the town meeting, and there's gonna be bigger fish in that thing. $2,500, that's reasonable.
Yeah, and I think the town appreciates it if we get some help. We're growing, we need some help.
The planning board will get extra training, become professionals, and move on to other towns.
You guys be wearing coat and ties before you know it.
Matching sweaters.
That's just the beginning. Excellent.
That's right.
Excellent. Anything else? We're at the end of the year. We gotta have more meetings, but, it's gonna be tough sticking them in there. Some of us are going away for a couple of weeks. And some of us are gonna be incapacitated for a couple of weeks. So if you skip 2 weeks, that puts us to the 22nd. That's another,
Of December or
Yeah.
January?
December. Do we want to call it a day on December and just schedule the next regular meeting into?
22nd's a Sunday.
When's that warrant
Oh,
article
it's
stuff have to be
2025.
done by, like, the end of January or the middle of January, or?
I'm sorry.
I haven't
When
seen it.
when does the warrant articles have to be wrapped up prior to?
They publish a
March?
date every year, right?
There is?
Yeah, but you need a public hearing on them too.
Right.
The public hearing has to be in January, and we don't want to hit it cold, right? We want to review it, make sure we're happy with it before you go public. So,
So if we can have a meeting, what would the Monday be, the 23rd?
23rd.
23rd.
We'll have all the documents back from Laura, so we can come in and just that, we can review that, schedule a public hearing in January, and go home. We'll come in here the 23rd, 9 AM.
I won't be here. I'm leaving the 20th.
You can't.
Friday.
Jan 13 would be the next scheduled. So we do a public hearing at that meeting, or do we have to have a special one?
I'm sorry, Ed?
Jan 13 is our next regularly scheduled meeting. We do the public hearing,
Only if we post it with 14 days in advance.
so we'd have to meet on the 23rd, post it like almost right away.
Make sure we're happy with it
Yeah.
and post it. I would think towards the end of January, would be plenty of time to do a public hearing.
Okay.
So you wouldn't do it at the regular meeting?
You can, but don't get
It's
trapped.
tight.
Yeah.
So it's the 13th of January?
Yes. Next regular meeting is the 13th of January.
And then going back to 7 PM, or we do it 9 AM?
I don't see any reason to go back to evenings.
For a public hearing, we would. You don't think?
Yeah, public hearing probably should stay at night.
You have better attendance.
Then we'll just have the public hearing as just a public hearing regardless of when we have our meetings.
So have that separate.
They'll be separate, yeah.
So 9 AM.
Yes,
So we're doing the 23rd also? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes, we're doing the 23rd.
January 13th.
And that meeting will be to go over the lawyer's input, the warrant articles that she's gonna send us. And approve or edit and schedule a public hearing. Okay, so January 23rd, 9 AM. That's,
January 13th, right?
oh, I'm sorry, December 23rd, 9 AM,
January 13th.
solely for
Yep.
warrant articles, review what the lawyer sends us. And the next regular meeting, January 13th. And at the 23rd, if we're okay with what we have, we'll set up a public hearing sometime in the evening, and we'll set the date according to the time schedule, sometime in mid-January, late January.
Where are we on Moose Mountain public hearing? Well, we have to do site visit.
We're gonna do a site visit, we could,
She was gonna send that letter, right? Get us a letter, I mean.
yeah,
Did she submit her detailed
no,
information?
no,
Not yet?
not yet.
So we're kind of waiting for that letter and then them to respond, right? With a date for the site visit.
Yes, we requested one. And at that point, we could review that, have a site plan, and make sure everything's okay according to the letter, and just, it's a total site plan visit.
Should we send them a courtesy letter letting them know that these are the dates that we're going to be meeting and review this? Just to help show we're trying to help them along. We'll just leave it up to them.
That's it.
I don't know, I'm just asking.
I don't know, we'll put it to the board. It's, well, let's,
Depends what the letter, the Laura.
let's give them a chance,
Yeah.
we'll discuss it, we'll put a blurb in that on the 23rd, December 23rd. Okay, member comments, any member comments? Public comments? Yeah,
The rules and procedures are set up so you send a self-addressed stamped envelope to both pits and then get a return. I would basically say do not rely on calling people because that's what happened in the past and wound up with a lost contract. Last time they didn't call back, and then when we tried to get on the property, we were told that they didn't want us to be on the property unless we had them there, which is not what the RSA says. You have the authority to go on and inspect the pits. But that's why we relied and changed the rules and procedures so we have that self-addressed stamped envelope. So I would follow that. It works good, because all they have to do is basically just get that envelope, throw it in the mail, it comes back to us, and we got our tacit permission, which we don't need, but we were doing that to respect them.
I can understand why they don't want anybody there without them being there, because it's a liability issue. You know, somebody can easily get hurt, seriously.
Well, to answer that, the RSA does not say that we need to get permission. We don't even need to notify them. The RSA does not say that there's any more liability to them if we go on the property. The planning board has the authority under the RSA to go on that property and inspect once per year, as it must be done. So the reason why we started with the self-addressed stamped envelope was to respect that, so they know we're there. So they can basically be there if they want to, but they don't have to. Number two, the master plan. A few years ago, we got 70% response from that survey from the people in town. So we should resurrect them. And even though I'm against it, if you wanted to use those surveys, you could give them to SRPC to show, so they have a better idea of what the town actually came up with. Because I don't think those opinions have changed much for an update. But we really did work hard to get that 70%. That's what took us so long, because we really wanted to get those feedbacks. And those surveys are somewhere in this office.
Yes.
And the results are on the website.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of time went into that.
So the letter we were just about
So
to send.
we
to
never
the
sent them
government-
to SRP because we weren't dealing with them at the time.
Correct, but if it's your decision to use their services to help you, I would say use the survey information to get a better master plan.
Right.
The letter we were gonna send to the gravel pit just says the planning board will contact you. And I think last year Tim made phone calls. I'm not sure exactly how it's
So
set up.
I don't know why that letter says that, because the rules of procedure. And actually on the computers, there's copies that I had made up of the two letters. One goes to them, telling them that all they have to do is send that response back saying that we're going to. So that's why there's two. So I don't know why that letter says that.
That's what Tim gave me last year. I've never seen the other ones.
Okay, well, it's on the computer, and if you can't find it, I can give it to you, because I think I still have that.
It's on the computer, it's not on the website.
No, the rules of procedure, outgoing letters are on your system somewhere. And if you don't have them here, then Tim has them, but I think Tim uploaded them on the cloud. Or
Will you send them to us, please?
yes, if I can find them, yes.
We'll hold off on that letter.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I do have one final opinion comment, so this is really a good public comment. What I've seen happen with SRPC is everything you're supposed to have the authority to do as a local planning board is in your rules of procedure, it's in the RSA, it's been set up for years. Yes, we have a new board, yes, there are a lot of things to learn, but if you keep delegating authority to the SRPC, which is actually all the way down in Stratford, doesn't really relate to us completely, you are going to eventually degrade your authority to do things because you're going to rely and delegate everything to them. It's the easiest thing to do. And now you're talking about spending my tax money to go and bring a representative from that board up here to help us do what is already written in your documents to follow, from subdivision regulations to site plan reviews to everything. So in my opinion, delegating that authority to an entity that is very much the federal government, I'm not really a fan of that. But that's just my opinion. You can make your own decisions. Thank you for hearing.
Thank you, Ed.
The letter, by the way, the letter that's in our rules of procedure here is the one that we're sending out. So in my book, maybe it's on the computer, but in my rules of procedure, it's this letter.
The appendix
Yeah.
is not the two letters?
There's Appendix X, which is one of the letters. It looks exactly like this, or reads exactly like this.
And there's just one letter?
So somehow that dropped along the lines.
Okay.
I suggest we hold that letter back, and you can find that and send it to us. We can see if something's missing. Someone could have changed it.
Yeah, that sounds better to have it come back to us,
Right.
have them come back to us, rather than we're trying to catch up with them, right?
Yeah, now mind you, what I was doing, when we changed that procedure, I actually was constructing 2 envelopes,
Yeah.
self-addressed and everything else. So it was just one person on the board doing that for years, since 2014. So it was easy to do that, but I could have sworn that was put in the rules of procedure. That's okay. I'll find it.
Thank you.
And if not, it's easy to rename.
I'm going to put that also on the December 23rd agenda. That'll be quick to clean up.
When was the last, the gravel pit was inspected this year, correct?
24. I'm sorry, 23. About a year ago.
Yeah, that was December as well, right?
It was either late November or early
Yeah,
December.
just be aware that the RSA says it's to be done annually.
Yeah.
Right.
because we found out years ago that we weren't doing it at all.
That's right.
Correct.
It's never been done up to a certain point, and you were instrumental in getting that started. I remember.
My last question would be,
You were a kid on the planning board.
my last question would be is, who attended the meeting with the attorney? And was there a quorum?
Last week you're talking about?
Last week
Monday.
was Marshall Goldberg, myself, Ed Ingles, and Ed Gothia.
Well, is that a quorum?
3 is on a quorum.
Just saying, okay. Because what, there was no posting, people may question. well,
And there were no decisions made.
Well, it doesn't matter, it matters if there's a quorum, it matters if there was a meeting, but since there was no quorum, then there's no meeting.
That's right.
Thank you.
She was well aware of that.
I have an ethical question to ask, I don't know if it's appropriate here, but as far as the inspection of the sites, the gravel pits,
Yep.
if we have used either of those people within, is there a certain period of time where, because this is a small town, you don't have too many contractors you can work with, we had to use one of them to do some work. Should I recuse myself in perpetuity as to participate in inspections, or just for the season, for the year that they did the work?
I don't think that's necessary to recuse for that.
Because some people believe I should have done, I didn't do it last time, because Carrie had asked me. And I
Yeah,
told her I didn't think it was
I
right.
recused from Smith last year too, because I use them a lot. So
Oh.
I continue to do that.
It's hard not to use them, because we have very limited contractor pool here in this area.
Well, that's right, but what
They do
happens,
good work.
what happens when everyone on the planning board eventually gets a shot at using the limited supply contractors? Does anyone else have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I'd rather not do that one.
Okay,
I'm happy to do Moose Mountain.
all right. Did you use both of them?
I know, I just used Long Meadow.
Okay. We'll work around that. Any more comments?
Just the posting, the wording on the posting I was gonna do for the ordinances.
Yes.
Can you guys take a look and tell me that that's okay or not, please?
I just got one, the ordinance update. The town of Brookfield zoning ordinance have been updated to correct a clerical error that omitted page 53, appendix E, permitted uses. Continue to view the complete zoning ordinance, click here. That's all it says.
Yes, I just wanted to know if you're okay with that wording, and if you're okay, because I linked on the website, obviously I can't link it on paper.
Right?
I did link to the ordinances where it says click here, and then below that, for a more detailed explanation of the clerical error that occurred, see the video of the meeting, and I linked to the planning board video for that.
Okay.
So that if people were questioning, oh, where did this come from?
So appendix A was put back in the,
Yes,
what uses?
Conditional.
Conditional uses. Correct?
mhm,
Yeah, that's okay.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
So you released it already?
No, that's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, put it in.
Okay.
Don't take the blame for it, because it sounds like a clerical error is the administrative assistant, but it wasn't your fault.
Do you want me to put the address?
It's on the record.
Anything else? Meeting adjourned,
9:46.
9:46.